Welcome to the Innkeepers podcast. We're glad you found your way here.
And welcome to episode 18 of the Innkeepers podcast. This is a podcast for Innkeepers covering Hearthstone's fireside gatherings. With insight and information we hope all of our fellow Innkeepers will find useful. My name is Avantes from Knoxville, Tennessee.
I am Root from Orlando, Florida.
And I'm Larry from Halifax in Canada. And today we have a very special guest. We have Innkeeper Wheva from the cave in Fairfax, Virginia.
Hello.
Woo!
Hi.
Welcome back,
Hey,
sir.
Wheva. Catching up to Scott Bites for as many guest appearances on our show as possible. We have a runoff right now. Coming up here on episode number 18 of our Innkeepers podcast, we have our news, shares, and spotlights. We have a TVT update with Wheva, and we're going to prepare you for your tavern to host a Tavern Hero qualifier.
And don't forget, for all of your fireside gathering needs, check out hsinnkeepers.com, where you will find resources made by Innkeepers for Innkeepers. And of course, go to firesidegatherings.com to make sure you have your events scheduled publicly for people to find you.
That's right. So, we got a little bit of Innkeeper news this week. For those of you who may not have heard, esports is sports.
Wow.
So, the president of Taiwan wrote over the weekend, becoming possibly the first world leader to declare that playing a video game can be fundamentally the same thing as playing football. President, and I'm going to butcher her name, I know. President Tsai Ing-wen wrote these words as she honored one of her countrymen, Chen Wei-lin, the new world champion of Hearthstone. Also, for those of you who may not know him, he's Tom60229, whose face was splashed all over the front page of some of Taiwan's largest newspapers this week. So that is a huge thing for not only Tom, but for Hearthstone in general.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it definitely. Yeah, I'm actually taking a sports psychology course right now, just to dip in here real quick. And my first assignment was about sports psychology, and I just looped in esports as a little segue in there because it still isn't everywhere seen as a sport. So this is definitely a big step forward, especially for Hearthstone.
right. So you might be asking, why is this important for an innkeeper? Well, or how is this important to an innkeeper? And well, any publicity helps our cause. It helps us get what we do out there and get the game out there. Venue owners may understand what it is we are trying to accomplish better if they can associate it better. And basically just showing off Hearthstone in the mainstream media is good validation for what we do on a regular basis as tournament organizers. So, again, congratulations to Tom60229 and everybody that was involved with the Hearthstone World Championships.
My heart breaks for Frozen, though, because
Yeah, it does.
he is the nicest guy. He is such a dedicated player as well, and I was so thrilled that he got so far. So my heart does break a little bit from Frozen not quite making it, but definitely an exciting one to watch.
I mean, when he was 2-0, we were all like writings on the wall. This is over, especially with the matchup. They went into the game 3, but and the confetti, everything just felt like it was going Frozen's way, and that must be so heartbreaking to be like that close and then to just get swept. And it's probably the worst way to lose is just a Druid mirror where skill was not as much of a factor. It just all came down to the draw.
I think we could all be in agreement when we say we just blame the guy working the confetti cannon, right?
Yeah.
What was that about? That was like, oh my. Like,
Yeah, but if he had access to his Twitter account, he would have been able to fix that a lot sooner. sorry, Hawaii jokes are early.
Yeah. So, all right. So I guess that brings us to this week's top share of the week, O'Leary. Why don't you tell us about that?
I'd love to. So our top share of the week comes from Sam, Innkeeper Sam in Kansas City. Now, he he has come up with a water drinking game for these long events that keep you hydrated, such as watching HCT. You know, we had days of play to watch, like long days, lots of, you know, matches to get through. So this is a water drinking game to keep you hydrated. So, emphasis on the water, but it's a tavern, liquor and drinks get a bit mixed in there. But we promote healthy drinking.
Healthy.
And he did say it was a water game about to keep hydrated. So these are his words. So there are 11 rules that they used. The first one being, whenever a corridor creeper is played, take a drink of water for each man cost. Rule number 2, whenever Patches attacks, take drinks equal to his attack. Rule number 3, take a drink for every token shuffled into a deck. Rule number 4, take a drink every time Warlock is banned.
It better be water.
Well, yeah, it absolutely is. Rule number 5, drink every time a Jade Golem is summoned. Rule, I would be on the floor at this point. Number 6, waterfall whenever animations persist after the rope ends. Number 7, finish your drink if a player misses lethal. Rule number 8, finish your drink if you call out lethal and you are wrong. Rule number 9, take a shot if Raza gets burned or dirty ratted. Rule number 10, take a shot every time Hunter wins. And the last rule, number 11, pour one out whenever your champion is eliminated. I actually really think that some of these are quite clever and fun, and definitely a great way to stay hydrated.
I would like to take this opportunity to issue a public service announcement about water intoxication, also known as water poisoning or hyperhydration. It is potentially fatal disturbance in brain functions that results when the normal disturbance of electrolytes in the body is pushed outside safe limits by overhydration. So please play responsibly.
I would like to point out that up until point 8, they were good at the copy replace and, you know, putting water in there. And like 9, 10, 11, they just gave up because they're like, take a shot, and pour one out, which you never do with water. They just kind of gave up at that point. Like, okay, the gig's up, people know.
But yeah, that was a great show. Thank you, Sam, for that one.
I think they should change this to like make a donation to your innkeeper, and that'd be great.
Or you put a lock on the bathroom door, and every time somebody has to go to the bathroom, you charge them a nickel. That's Root's idea. Eventually, you can just quit your day job and innkeep full time. I'm just saying.
The dream.
Maybe that's what Scott did.
Oh, all right. So that brings us to our new innkeeper spotlight, and Root, we had quite a few this week. Why don't you tell us about them?
We did, and we're going to have a double member join this week we'd like to share. So first we have Taz Dingo. He's a local player in Wellington, New Zealand, and he was eager to help his local innkeeper, and he joined the Discord server to connect with our community. At their first fireside last week, he invited their innkeeper, Pugzoy, to join the community. And here are their intros. Tans Dingo says, "Hi, guy. My name is Tans Dingo. I'm a Hearthstone player from New Zealand, and I haven't hosted any firesides. However, this Sunday will be my 4th gathering. I joined the group so I could learn more about gatherings as they add so much value to the Hearthstone community. The other reason is to help my tavern and innkeeper. I'm also the host of the Golden Ticket at legendary_Hearthstone, so I wanted to share what I learned with the Hearthstone community." So that's kind of cool to have a member of your actual tavern join first. I think that's pretty clever. I like that.
Yeah, and he seems eager to like help as well. You know, like help the innkeepers. So I thought that
Which is always welcome. I
And-
always love that.
And the Golden Ticket is a relatively new Hearthstone podcast, so welcome to the podcasting community as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome.
And
then-
I actually got a recent new helper for my events. His name is Mike Zakaic, and he's been helping me out a lot, especially with the marketing of my events. So I just want to give him a shout out.
Awesome.
And that is fantastic. Any help is good help. So. And then Pugzoy says, hey guys, I've been hosting monthly fireside gatherings since October, initially being pushed by Nemsy, weren't a lot of us, but now just because it's awesome to meet up with people and play Hearthstone. I'm currently at the 4th one, not too many people, but I'm here with Taz Dingo, and I've just been running them as a hobby, although the venue that we do it at, which is a local internet cafe, gives us discounts due to us bringing in people. Well, welcome. New Zealand is awesome. My cousin works in New Zealand as a chef, so I'm sure you know him because I think everybody in New Zealand knows everybody. His name is Chad. He's a redhead. You can't miss him. Come on. It's American redhead chef. There's got to be one of those named Chad. Okay, there you go. So
Yeah. I thought it was really cute that when he joined, they were at the fireside together. And then we had a little chat in the Discord while they were at their fireside. I thought that was pretty nice.
Yeah, Taz Dingo has been busy making the rounds in the Hearthstone online community. He's been popping in and out of Discords that I'm in all week and saying hi and introducing himself, and he's just a fun guy to have a conversation with. So
that is great. Well, guys, welcome, well met, and we'll see you on the Discord.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, so now the reason I know I'm here, you guys are here, we have Wheva back with us, and you, sir, as we talked about on your last, I think it was your last appearance, won the Tavern vs. Tavern a few months back, and part of that was you got to have a HCT World Championship viewing party hosted by Blizzard. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how that went?
Well, first I'd like to thank Conrad, E. Pac-Man, and Rich Webbs, who actually won Tavern vs. Tavern for winning and giving my Tavern this opportunity to have this awesome event hosted by Blizzard. Basically, they sent a Hearthstone developer, Joe Magdalena. And they paid for food, and they even rented out all the computers at the cave so everyone could come and play for free. And what we ended up doing was I wanted an event where people could come and go as they please. And so what we did was I heard about this thing like a week before on the Hearthstone Innkeeper Facebook group, which if you haven't joined that, do. About a live ladder, and I took my own inspiration on that idea where basically it's about just challenging people in the tavern. Just walk up, challenge them, the best of one. And all that mattered was that the challenge took place within Hearthstone. I didn't care if it's Tavern Brawl, Standard, Wild, make your own rules. Doesn't matter to me. And just we gave out log sheets for people to record the match scores and turn them in. And then based on where people's places on the ladder were, we gave out prizes. And that way we encourage people to be more social with each other. You could come and just jump into the ladder. You didn't have to worry about showing up at a certain time for a tournament or something like that. And also a lot of people, if they didn't feel like playing in the live ladder for some reason, they actually just hung out and played normal Legend ladder, and we're just talking, having a good time, eating pizza.
Cool. Did you use Smash GG for the ladder system?
No, we use an Excel spreadsheet.
Oh.
Yeah. Basically, I just manually input the scores, and then it sorted it by people's ranks.
Cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So we have a few pictures. Oh, you have something you want to? Adam?
Yeah, I was gonna ask how many people did you have show up for the event overall?
We had 54 attendees.
And most of them stay like all day. Did you have a lot of come and go like you anticipated?
I would say about 30% came and went, and then I would say most of them stayed for about the entire 7 hours.
That's
So
awesome.
54 people. That location has 67 computers, so anybody could grab a computer anywhere. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
So
Right?
that is
It
awesome.
was just for the Sunday.
Yeah, this is on a Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
That's a pretty good turnout for a Sunday, I'd say. So
And there was Blizzard got King's Pizza, which is like the best pizza in the entire area. I don't even know how many pizzas. I should have counted. They have the picture if they want to put it on screen.
Yeah,
of how many pizzas there were.
I'll pull up the pictures and then maybe you can talk about each picture as we go through them a little bit. Kind of let us know.
Yeah. While you're pulling them up, so I was up in that area a couple weeks ago, and that Wheva told me the same thing. He's like, you have to have King's Pizza while you're here. He'll drive 15 minutes past other places to go pick up this pizza because he won't deliver to his house. So I'm like, all right. And I told my in-laws about it because we didn't have chance to order. My father-in-law texted me. He's like, this guy was right. This is the best pizza in town. Yeah, there you go. This King's Pizza is legit.
All right.
Okay, that's actually right before we did our raffle. Joe Magdalena is actually the guy all the way to the right there.
Bottom right
head
corner,
in.
yeah.
And then that's basically everyone gathering before we do a huge raffle. We had 3 of those huge boxes of swag to give away.
Oh, wow.
Blizzard provided 2 of them for this event, and then I had one saved up from some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I just gave it all away. Like I basically have nothing left.
Oh, that's cool. At least everybody had had a good time.
Yeah, basically everybody got at least one thing out of this event, and on top of that, most people got 2 things.
That's awesome. All right. Moving on. Giant
And
mountains
then
of pizza.
Wow.
Yeah, and behind to the left of that, there's another table which has like 5 more pies and cannolis.
Oh, wow.
And then you can also see the chicken wings in there as well. Blizzard spared no expense. I couldn't. Like when the guy first came in and he brought in like 10 pies, it's like, okay, that's it, right? He's like, no, I have 4 more in the car. I'll be right back.
Could I get some help carrying the pies in, please?
That is awesome. And then you had the big screen with the tournament on, and then
We also had another screen on the other side of the venue for other people to watch as well. So
okay, that's awesome. Next up,
and then Blizzard decided to give us another award for winning Tavern vs. Tavern, which is a Kobolds and Catacombs poster signed by the entire Hearthstone dev team, and that's Joe Magdalena presenting it to us. It's going to be framed and hung up at the cave alongside a picture of the team on the BlizzCon stage. So whenever you come to the cave, you should be able to see that. Also, this is the other trophy. This is the trophy we got for winning.
oh,
Right
Gotta
here.
Hang on.
go live.
gotta cut back. There we go.
Oh. It's signed by all the Hearthstone developers.
And it's playing the Hearthstone music when you open it up, guys.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yep.
All right, so let's go back to pictures. Next up, this one.
And this is just again one with the team and the trophy, Joe Magdalena.
Okay. Yeah, I'm hearing the echo too, Marsfad. I'm not real sure what's causing it.
I I guess Rich Webs is the one with the beanie. D Pac-Man is the one with the hat, and Conrad is the tall one behind us all.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, Joe is a cool guy. Joe Magdalena.
Yeah, he is. He was really cool about challenging people. We for the live ladder, I actually made a rule where beating him counted as 2 wins, and losing against him counted as 0. So to encourage everyone to challenge him.
Like what would you do if Ben Brode challenged you to a game of Hearthstone? And you won.
What would I do?
Yeah.
I'd be very happy with myself.
I would have to frame my phone and go get another phone or something. Like, nope, that's never touching that phone again.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. So, all right. Well,
now,
again, go ahead.
So I was just wondering, like, were they autographing anything for patrons who were there? Were they?
Joe, he would autograph and take pictures with any of the fans that was there. We offered him a table to just sign autographs at, and he was like, "No, I just want to mingle with people." So
that's cool.
Let him do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is very cool.
Yeah. Again, congratulations on your win. Sounds like you guys had a really good time.
It was an awesome event, and I couldn't be more happy with it. Thank you, Drew and Joe, and Mike, who helped me market the event and run the event as well. So thanks to all 3 of you. Mike is also known as Snow Beast. I keep trying to get him to join the Innkeeper Discord. Hopefully he does soon.
Nice.
So while I've got you here, I need to ask you the question. Are you keeping your team together for the next round of TVT?
If they all want to compete, yeah. And I'm hoping to have a second team as well.
Interesting. So you're going to go with 2 teams for the next, because we had the option, and it wasn't very well publicized by Blizzard, which some people had got a little salty about. But you have the option of having 2 teams in the last Tavern versus Tavern tournament that we had. So all right. So you're going to come at us again now, this time with 2 teams. That's going to be interesting. So we're becoming after. We love you, man. Get that straight. But we're coming after you. You know that, right?
We look forward to the competition.
Hey, he only beat me by 1 game. 1 game separated him going and me going. So
yeah, it was 5-4. The winner of that game moved on to the next round, and it was very close.
It was.
Pretty sure one of the games we super something ridiculous happened. Oh, I think you guys evolved something into a 6-drop, and it turned into the 1/1.
Yes.
Oh.
And then we top deck Maelstrom Portal and clear his board.
Yeah. That's how close it was.
Yeah. So
I'm just letting y'all know, if it wasn't for that darn hurricane, then totally different story. No, I'm kidding. No, we're looking forward.
I would have.
It's like we all have our stories. If it wasn't for this, if it wasn't for those meddling kids.
They gave us more than the 3 or 4 weeks notice they gave us. Not even exaggerating. It was probably maybe 4, if that. So.
Oh, smack talk is commencing in the chat, guys.
Yeah. Oh, it's true.
So.
It's true. It was just such a. Honestly, that really last year, that's the one thing I'm a bit, I don't know, maybe miffed about. It's that should have been told to us sooner. We could have had more taverns competing. And I think the only reason they allowed 2 teams for a tavern is because the tavern submissions were so low, because it was such a
last minute
short
kind of
turnaround announcing it and happening. So, but it's great. Honestly, I'm going to have backups for my team, as you should, because your players could be sick. Mm-hmm. They could, what happened with Root.
Yeah, we had
location.
What happened was we were planning on having a second team, and what happened was one of them, we have another tavern down in Richmond, Virginia, and he was a frequent goer of that tavern as well, and they needed someone for their team, so they poached him from our second team. And then the other person decided that he really didn't want to play Hearthstone much anymore, so we just lost him, and so we had a fourth person. Just like I felt bad for him, so we made him our sub.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he never got a chance to play, but we made sure he came with us to BlizzCon. So
Well, that's
Oh,
awesome.
that's cool.
Perfect. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Was
all
that
right.
that really tall guy in the Murloc? No, somebody
no,
else.
well that was one of our patrons, but that was not our sub. Our sub
They-
was Marco Polo.
Yeah, I end up standing behind this guy at BlizzCon on stage for the finals, and the guy's like 6'5" in a Murloc costume.
His name is Dementio. Yeah, he's super tall. He's actually an incredible Overwatch player.
Oh, really?
And yeah, he like constantly switches between Hearthstone and Overwatch, and like he'll just come to a Tavern Hero, and like he'll barely know what the new cards do, but people will like build him decks, and then he just like somehow just wins the Tavern Hero.
I like that though. That's smart. That's smart play. That's all that is.
You know what I remember most from Tavern v Tavern was Doug's team. His number 1 team from Michigan was Firebat, Lion, Immortal Lion, and it was supposed to be Frozen. Was supposed to be the 3rd member of his team, but Frozen had a family emergency and they had to sub in. I forget who it was they subbed in, but it was another like ringer.
Yeah, and they ended up facing against our opponents in the finals, and like when we went in and we saw the teams, we were like, those are the 2 teams we're scared of, and we got super lucky by both of them facing each other in the first round, and they were on the opposite side of the bracket, so we didn't have to face either of them till the finals.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, all right, well that was awesome. It was so much fun. Looking forward to Tavern v Tavern again this year. But before we get to Tavern v Tavern, it's Tavern Hero qualifier season, people.
Yep, favorite time of the year.
That's right.
That's
And
Innkeepers.
if you're not, if you're maybe a new innkeeper or you're not familiar, Tavern Hero qualifiers are special Blizzard sanctioned Hearthstone tournaments that happen at Fireside Gatherings. They take place in select locations across really the world. Winners of Tavern Hero tournaments are named Tavern Heroes, and they are then invited to compete in the upcoming season playoffs for a chance to move on up the ladder to eventually hopefully get to compete in the Hearthstone World Championship Tour. So
yeah, they're part of the
Challenger
out
Series.
there. Yes, that's the keyword that Blizzard is kind of assigning the Tavern Heroes and the online cups and things like that now. It's the Challengers, HCT Challengers program. There we go.
Yeah.
So if you see anything that Hearthstone is posting about Challengers program, that's directly related to Tavern Hero qualifiers, so make sure you give it a read.
Yeah, specifically those and the online to offline events all feed into the Challenger Finals. So, what are the requirements for Tavern Hero competition? So, you must create your event on firesidegatherings.com. You must submit an email to firesidegatherings@blizzard.com and include a link to your event. They must take place between the specified dates for the season. And so, like, for instance, season 1 means they must take place between January 10th and March 4th. And they must all be wrapped up before the start of the next season playoffs. You must sign up before the deadline. With Tavern Hero qualifiers, there is a 10-day lead time for your events. So if you're signing up to run an event on March the 4th, which is the last day of the season, you must submit your event by Thursday, February the 22nd to make sure it's in time. Your event must be open to the public and held in a public venue. It must have a minimum of 16 players. It must be played using standard-only decks in the Conquest format. And you must provide a completed event report and tournament bracket within 1 week, 7 days of the end of the qualifier via email to firesidegatherings@blizzard.com. Remember, organizers are not eligible to participate in their own Tavern Hero qualifiers. Your Tavern Hero qualifier must be free to enter. Now, this is important. You cannot charge a fee to enter the tournament, but you can charge a nominal venue fee if you need to. And you must use an approved bracket site like Battlefy or help me out, guys. What were the other three?
Not
Tripwire was
Challenge.
one of them.
What, Wheva?
Yeah, it hurts me that Challenge is not a contender, but I get it. They want to get the data. They want to rip the data from the ones they chose.
Yeah.
No,
We can look at our
Tripwire
show
is one.
notes from last week. They had them in there. So
I'm trying to pull up the page right now.
Yeah, see, I always use Battlefy, so that's the easy one for me to remember. Chat's got me. It's Strivewire, ESGA, and ESSL. Does that sound right?
It's ESL Play.
ESL Play.
yeah, so
Okay.
what? Yeah.
Yeah.
And Battle 5 right
Yeah,
And-
now.
and
but-
Battlefy. Yeah.
yeah,
Now I have a question. Which one would you guys recommend out of those? Because I still haven't decided for my Tavern Hero coming up this Friday what I'm using.
Although I'm not paid, Battlefy.
Battle 5 for sure.
Yeah, I'm using Battlefy mostly because it's the one I'm most familiar with. I personally have never used any of the others, so.
We
The
tried to
Battlefy-
use. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the thing with Battlefy that's really, really good for Tavern Hero qualifiers if you're using Swiss is it has a function in it that when you're selecting the tiebreakers for Swiss, you can just select HCT settings. So you know 100% that the tiebreakers that players are going to have to work with in terms of who makes the cut into your single limb bracket. If they have any questions on it, you can just say as an
And
she
she's
froze.
locked up. Yeah.
Well, so the other reason that I would suggest using Battlefy is we have a lot of people in our Discord who use Battlefy. I could rap like this. I'm gonna rap with myself. One, two, one. Yes, go. Right now, Leary's going like, "What is happening? I don't understand." There she is.
It's a storm here right now. Sorry, guys. It's like
It's like echoing through the clouds over there. Okay, so basically, well, we're still echoing through clouds.
Hey, O'Leary, do me a favor and mute your phone real quick.
That means she has to touch it and it's going to fall. We've been waiting for this moment all episode. All right, so the other reason I was going to say to use Battlefy is we have a lot of people in our Discord server who use it. And if you get stuck in a tournament or you have a question in a tournament, you have instant access to everybody can help you out immediately on Discord. So as long as
What is the best? There's like a million channels on the Discord for that. What's the best one to do that? You get a fast response.
probably the tournament, any of the ones that have tournament, the preface with tournament. This would be the Larry question, but now she can't answer because she's mute.
Yeah, I would
here
definitely say either tournament planning or
hello.
There you go. Very good. Yeah, tournament planning, I'd say, would be the best one.
What did I miss? I was talking about Battlefy stuff.
We're just saying that in our Discord server, we have a lot of people who use Battlefy. Maticus is a fantastic resource for Battlefy.
Mm-hmm.
So you can always just go to tournament planning, tournament events, and ask questions in there if you get stuck. So that's what I was saying.
Yeah, for sure. The point I don't know how much of it got through or the bad internet I have right now for Battlefy with Swiss is Swiss can be really hard as an organizer to grasp completely 100% how it works, how the tiebreakers work. And what Battlefy has is a function in it where you choose the tiebreakers for Swiss and you choose HCT settings. So you don't really need to worry about being 100% confident in all the details of the tiebreakers and how it works. Obviously, make an effort to learn it to the best that you can. But you can set it so if any players have questions on the day, you can just say, this is how HCT does it. And they've worked with Blizzard to have that in place. So it's a Blizzard approved function that should match exactly how it happens in HCT. So if you're using Swiss and you're unsure with that side of it, especially the tiebreakers and the rounds, I would recommend Battlefy. And I just like the user interface as well, personally. But I would definitely go that route.
So one of the things to remember going into this is we might be used to, as innkeepers, running our own tournaments on a weekly basis or monthly basis, whatever it might be. And a lot of times in those particular tournaments, we kind of have the ability to do what we want to do, when we want to do it. And we might bend some rules because, quote unquote, it doesn't really count. This one does. So there are some things you need to consider and kind of, I call it put your big boy Blizzard pants on. And what I mean by that is there's steps we have to take and really act even more professional than we normally are. One of the biggest piece of advice I can give you if you're running a THQ for the first time or 10th time, it doesn't matter, is document everything. Get your players' names, get their email addresses, get their battle tags. Something really cool that Freckleface, one of my admins...
Take a lot of pictures.
Yeah, take a lot of pictures. Document. One of the cool things that Freckleface is doing this time for our gathering, or our tournament rather, is those who have pre-registered, she's giving them a really cool pre-printed name tag. Those who show up, get their name tag, she'll then be able to see very quickly who has not shown up, who's pre-registered, because it'll be on a sheet of paper, the name tag sheet right in front of her. That'll also encourage everybody else who gets a sloppily written on a Sharpie name tag, like, hey, I didn't get that cool name tag. Well, you didn't pre-register. So that's a cool way to get people to pre-register, but it's also an easy way to see who's missing. Love that idea. So get pictures, get players' names, email addresses, battle tags. You used to have to whitelist your event with the IP address with Blizzard. You still kind of do, but it's a different method now. I talked to Jesse today and I got confirmation on this. What you have to do, you still need to submit your IP information. In other words, what public IP address your venue is going to be communicating to Blizzard with. You still need to let them know what that is. So you either talk to local IT or just visit whatismyip.host. Give them your IP information. You'll send that email to firesidegatherings@blizzard.com. You want them to know, hey, I'm going to have a lot of people connecting from this address. Don't ban us, please, because we're trying to host a tournament here. You want to do that for any fireside gathering, but make doubly sure that you do that for your THQ.
Yeah, and we actually have... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's happened to me multiple times, actually, where, like, battle is just down across the entire venue. And it's not just because of our fireside or Tavern Hero Qualifier. It's because we're at a gaming center and there's 10 other people in the back playing Overwatch. And then so all those people get just disconnected as well.
So what happens there is Blizzard, on their security protocols go, hey, we're getting a ton of traffic from this IP range. This doesn't look right. Something's strange. Block it until we figure out what's going on. If they had the whitelist and they're going, hey, Blizzard, we're going to be sending you a bunch of weird traffic because it's all your games that we're going to be playing from our gaming center, then Blizzard goes, cool, we know what that is. We know we're expecting it. Let it through. So definitely take the time to whitelist your IP address. Illyria, you were going to say?
Yeah, we have a constant MooBot command for our Twitch channel, which is IP whitelisting, and it's the link that was thrown around in the Discord server not too long ago. It's the form that you can submit to Blizzard to get your IP whitelisted. So I've just reposted that in the Twitch chat.
Perfect.
So yeah, that's there as well for you guys.
You want to be able to segregate your competition. In other words, give a little bit of separation between your competitors and your normal players. If you got people there in your fireside who are just there for some dungeon runs or casual play, give a little bit of separation between them and your competitors. It's serious. These people could actually end up at BlizzCon winning the whole thing, bunch of money, they could be the next Firebat. And so you want to be sure that they have nothing that they could go, you know what? I could have won, but that screaming kid disrupted my train of thought, and my evolve messed up because of that screaming child. It's clearly what happened. So you don't want to give anybody an excuse. So give them a little bit of space. Have yourself a dedicated tournament organizer. Don't do it yourself. You're there to admin. You're there to make sure everything goes right. You are the innkeeper. You want to make sure your entire tavern is still going good. You have people who might be in your tavern or aren't in the competition. You want to make sure they're still having a great time. So you need to be moving around and making sure everybody's cool, making sure everybody can get on and play Hearthstone, put out any fires that are happening. So have your tournament organizer be running your tournament. That's what Freckleface does for me, and she does a phenomenal job of it. I have tech support people who handle the tech support. I've got an instructor who handles just a bunch of people. I'm blessed with that. I know Maticus is probably raging on me right now. But have people dedicated to do certain jobs. Also, talk to your participants ahead of time. Before you even kick off the competition, make sure that they understand some fundamental things. Number one, make sure they understand how to take a screenshot with whatever device they have. Google it if you don't know yourself. You're going to need to know how to take a screenshot on a Mac, on a PC, on an iPhone, on an Android. That's about it, I think. So make sure you know how to do that, and make sure these people know how to do it too, because if something happens, screenshot it. You need to have that documentation, that evidence. Make sure your participants understand the rules. They may be playing in a format they're not used to. We do most of our competitions in Swiss. Now we're doing it in Conquest. Make sure they understand the difference. Make sure they understand double elimination. Make sure they understand these things so they're not taken by surprise. Make sure all your people have submitted proper decks and nothing's out of the ordinary. If you have to do a deck check in the middle of the competition, make sure people understand what that means and what that entails in the competition. Make sure everybody takes their needed breaks before everything begins. Bio breaks, potty time. Make sure people go. Make sure they use the restroom before the competition begins so they don't have to go out in the middle of it and possibly lose a turn or open themselves up for any kind of funny business. Just don't let it happen. Have access to plenty of power sources. If someone's playing on a phone and they don't have a charger with them, try to do something about that. We have definite phone chargers for almost every phone model. There might be some we don't have, some of those weird imports they bring in, but we have iPhone chargers, we have Android chargers for different makes and models because people show up all the time. They go, "Oh, do you have a charger for?" Yes. They're like, "I haven't."
Yeah, that happens so often where people bring their phone, they try to play on their phone and they don't have a charger.
It's ridiculous. I mean, sorry, but if you're coming, now I say it's ridiculous. There's a lot of times people show up and they go, "I didn't even know this was happening. Can I be involved?" You say yes, and they go, "I don't have a charger. No problem. I got you covered." However, if you plan to go to the event and you didn't bring a charger, come on, step it up a little bit. But we have chargers. We can give people chargers. Make sure you've got that covered. Understand and make sure they understand that your tournament organizer has the final say in anything. You don't argue with the referee. You don't argue with the tournament organizer. If they say a match, like if someone disconnects or the game crashes and they can't get back in, they lost a turn, and the tournament organizer looks at it and goes, "You know what? I'm going to award this game to this person." That's it. End of story. And also make sure that you know your player's official battle.net email address, not their personal one, not their little, sweetbabycakes97@hotmail.com. I'll check that later. But make sure that you have their actual battle.net email, because that's how Blizzard's going to communicate with them. So make sure that you know it, and make sure that your patrons actually know how to check that. That's a great point. That some people, they go, "You know what? I don't even know what email I signed up with Blizzard. It's my little, I don't know, druidmonkey974 at, Gmail. Well, do you know how to check that? No. Well, you're never going to get any kind of communication from Blizzard because that's how they email you. So make sure your players know how to check their own email. Make sure you have that actual email. Make sure they can access it. There's a lot of things that have to be done with this, with your Tavern Hero qualifier.
Yep.
Any other advice, guys, for that?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're great.
Okay.
Now.
I'm cutting in and out. So the thing to really make sure the players know, and also that and I know Blizzard is providing a list of this, but if a player has made it to playoffs for the past 3 seasons or in the current season at all, they cannot compete in a Tavern Hero qualifier. If they win, the ticket into the Challengers program, Challengers Finals, sorry, is the name of the tournament. It doesn't transcend down.
It basically forfeit. It's forfeit at that point.
Yeah, it's a wasted tournament at that point, and you're going to have a lot of unhappy players. And at the time, if you have one unhappy person there, and you have to just take a few extra minutes to explain to them why they can't compete, do your double checks with that. Blizzard is supposed to be providing us a list for that, but give yourself that time before things start to check your bracket, because it will invalidate everything. And like I said, the ticket doesn't go down, so it won't go to second place. It will only go to first place. So definitely. Now,
if we don't catch that person, but they don't win, does it invalidate everything, or it's just
no? It's only if they win. So if they compete, even though they're not supposed to, if they miss it now, Blizzard, and we'll have to get the list. And once we get the list, we'll make it on our Discord and everywhere else. Yeah. But there's a list that Nicole said she'd be making available that you can check against everybody else's battle tag when they sign up. You can say, look, we've got a guy who he competed in last season in an HCT. He can't compete. So if he shows up, I can't let him compete. If he does and he slips by and he wins, it messes everything up. If he does and he slips by and he gets like 4th place, no harm, no foul. But I can't let that happen. Now, personally, I already know that with him, and he knows that, so we're all cool. But you got to make sure that someone doesn't show up to your town who's driven, 50 miles from their location to try to qualify at your tavern, and you don't know them. So you got to be real careful with that.
I do know that Blizzard says they can't compete, but they haven't given any official what if they compete. So it could invalidate it. We honestly don't know. Like if there's a case where they suspect win trading, they could invalidate the tournament.
That's very true.
So don't.
I hadn't thought about that.
Really take they haven't given us, from what I've seen, a very clear if they compete, but they don't win, it's whatever. So really take the extra time, because it probably is fine. But like I said, if they suspect anything, they could just invalidate it because they're not supposed to compete at all in a
We should follow up and have an answer for you guys next week. We'll try to reach out to somebody and see if we can get an answer, and we'll let everybody know next week.
That's really important because,
I'm gonna at Nicole right now.
Because mine's a competitive tavern, so you have a lot of people who have competed in HCT, and so if they just straight up cannot compete, then that's important.
They're not allowed, no.
Yeah, that would be huge. So, all right, guys. So, in conclusion, basically, hosting an official Blizzard event like the Tavern Hero requires Innkeepers to, as Root put it, put on their big boy Blizzard pants. And but you still have to maintain the fun and festive environment that taverns have fostered. So just make sure you cover all your bases, manage your players' expectations, and make sure you ensure you have a great Tavern Hero qualifier. So
awesome! Right. I've got one coming up Saturday.
So do I.
Nice.
Yeah, you and I'll be in Discord chatting with each other. We might have to have a little impromptu video session or something.
That sounds like a plan. I will be there, ready to rock and roll. We're starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, so I'll be setting up about noon, and we're
doing ours 11 with a kickoff. Our doors open at 10. Tournament kicks off at 11. at Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida, if you're around the area. It's going to be a place called the Treehouse, which is in Building 4 at Full Sail University. So doors open at 10, with the tournament kicking off at 11 o'clock.
Nice.
We do have a question here. It's from Jarston TV. And Jarston says, what was the most difficult moment you've had in your tavern with an attendee? What is the most difficult moment
I've had with an attendee? I've been pretty lucky, and I really haven't had many, really at all. When it comes to attendees, everybody's been pretty good. I think the worst part was when worst thing that happened was I have a pretty strict cutoff of 7 p.m. You need to show up by this time or you're not in the tournament. And because that's when I let the bracket go and people start their matches. Like if you come in at 7:05, I'm sorry, but the matches have been started, right? Someone comes in, he's a regular guy, a regular attendee, and he's like, can I come into the tournament? And I'm like, no. And he got very frustrated with me, but it was nothing personal. Matches had started. If I'd reset the tournament for him, the entire tournament's integrity would have been out the window at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm sure we probably all have some stories with Nimsy and some guest frustrations with Nimsy. But what was yours, Larry?
I was gonna say I had to DQ hot form from a major because he showed up late for the second day. Because it's there's a deadline, and it doesn't matter who you are. And this is like a couple years ago now, but it's like it doesn't matter. There's a schedule. There's a check-in. There's a second day check-in, and no matter who it is, you have to respect that everyone else was able to be there on time. If you're late, you're late. You're not in. Sorry. So that's happened before. I've had a player come a long way to compete, and they had already won a Tavern Hero before, like that season. And so I knew this was probably about a year ago now, but I knew that like he couldn't compete, even though there was nothing really official in the rules at the time. It was just like, no, like you can't, because if you win, then you're taking that seat from someone else. And so that's why I say that that's a really important thing to tell people, because people might not realize, especially where now it's like a backlog of if you've made it a year ago kind of deal, like, 3 seasons ago, if you made it to playoffs, you can't compete. So yeah, I've dealt with those kinds of things before. And the hardest thing for me is always when someone comes in on a laptop that's older, and by older I mean honestly it only has to be 5 years old, and it can't connect to the Wi-Fi, and so they can't connect to the fireside, so they can't get the card back, and they can't get Nimsy, and they can't play the fireside ball. That's the hardest thing for me, because there's no fix for that. I can't explain it to them any other way other than your hardware just isn't able to connect, and I'm really sorry. And I troubleshoot with them, and that's the hardest time for me, for sure.
So the most difficult moment I ever had at an event with an attendee was, and I remember it like it was yesterday. We were just wrapping up the second round, and a player walks up to me and says, "Hey, there's a group of guys that came together. I just played one of them, and the first thing he did was go and tell all of his buddies what I was playing and what to expect in my deck, and they're colluding. What are you going to do about it?" And
wow.
I'm like, I mean, I can tell them, hey guys, please don't share information with your friends, but that doesn't mean they're not going to go outside the venue, down the block, talk about it, and come back.
It sucks that can happen to someone, but there's really nothing an innkeeper can do about it.
Right.
If people come together, they're going to share information, and that's just part of the advantage I see as coming with friends. It sucks for the people who come alone, but there's nothing we can do to stop it from happening.
Yeah, I actually ended up just kind of...
The best thing you can do is if you were somehow able to do public deck lists. That's the best thing.
Right. And, this year, one of the things Nicole said was it's up to the innkeeper, each individual innkeeper, on how they want to handle deck lists this year. Like in the past, I have always required my players to submit deck lists prior to the event, and sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get them to submit their deck lists on time. So this year, I'm going to run my events through Battlefy, where all they have to do is put in the classes that they're playing, and I'm not going to collect deck lists this time.
Right now, I will tell you this. That's what we do. The only issue there is you need to still make your players understand that you can spot check at any time.
Yeah.
So that is it. That is it. Yes, ma'am.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt. You can
No,
finish
you're
your
fine. No, I was done.
sentence.
You're good. You're good.
I was going to say, so if you're doing something like that, because you don't have a reference to reference against, what I would do is put in the rules that before a match is played, the players have to show each other that they only have one available deck for each class that they're competing with. So they can either take out one card from it, or if you switch it to wild, it makes it unavailable in a standard duel.
Mm-hmm.
So even just doing that, that can save you the deck list trouble, but also it's about protecting your players. And if you don't have deck lists, then there's really nothing to verify from match to match. So it's kind of open deck list, but not for changing. Like they shouldn't really, but you can't check it, and you have to make sure your rules are things you can enforce.
Right.
So things like having to show your opponent, hey, I only have one class of each that's on Battlefy available. It gives them that peace of mind that they can then compete, and they're not worrying like, oh, well, maybe they have like 2 hunters that they're playing with right now. Like you take that worry out of their mind, so they can really focus on the game and play at their best. So if you're doing something like that, I'd recommend putting something like that in place. And it's self-policing as well.
Yeah. That's a really good idea. So, all right. Let's see. That answers Jarston's question. Sorry it was a little involved, but I hope we gave you what you were looking for there. So to wrap up this week's show, this was episode 18, and
we all got to be extremely jealous of Wheva and his awesome visit by Blizzard and the watch
that was
party.
The whole point of this show,
and the tons.
I hope that wasn't the whole point of this show.
We just wanted to show everybody all that pizza. That was the whole thing.
Yeah. It was all about the pizza and wings, man. Come on,
all about the pizza. No, and what was the cannolis? It's all about the cannolis.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the cannolis were awesome. That was such a surprise.
Yes.
Like one guy came up to me and was like, "Who has cannolis? Like, where is this from? Who serves cannolis anymore?"
Yeah.
Blizzard.
That's
Blizzard
right.
serves cannolis.
So, all right. Next week we have a very special guest again with us next week. We are going to have Innkeeper Lucas from Amsterdam live on the show to discuss the legendary fireside gatherings he ran at the World Championships this past weekend.
That sounds like a real good one.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And
definitely tune into that.
Well, we'd love to have you join us in chat next week. So we'll also be airing a little earlier than our normal time to facilitate Lucas in the time zone change. So next Tuesday, episode 9, episode 19, Tuesday, January 30th, will air at 6 p.m. Eastern. That is 3 p.m. Pacific.
2 p.m. Pacific.
No, 3 p.m. It's 3-hour time shift.
Yep, that's
And-
because my time
yeah.
zone is
And it will be midnight for Central European time zones.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Luckily, Lucas is willing to hop on our show for an hour at midnight so that we can chat about all the fun stuff from Worlds. So
Yeah, yeah. So make sure you tune in early next Tuesday. Again, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, and midnight Central European time. All right. So, Wheva, why don't you tell people where they can find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Wheva, no _HS, just at Wheva. You can, and that's mostly it for my social media. I will say if anyone is in the DMV area, which is DC, Maryland, Virginia, if you didn't know that, I'm going to be hosting Tavern Heroes basically every single Friday, except for the Friday after Valentine's Day, because I'm not crazy. So the first one is going to be this Friday, so January the 26th. So come out, and I look forward to seeing you all. And I'd also like to give a shout out to Joe, Mag, and Drew and Mike again. Also to my Tavern vs. Tavern team at Conrad. I think it's at Conrad HS, at the Pac-Man. I think it's at the Pac-Man HS, and Rich Webs, and I think it's at Rich Webs or something like that on Twitter. Like they're the true heroes. They're the ones who did all the preparation, and they're the ones that actually won Tavern vs. Tavern.
We actually had a question earlier. Does Conrad spell his with a K or a C?
A C.
Okay.
Conrad. I think it's his middle name.
Okay. Cool. All right. Illyri, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Illyri, at ALEIRRI, or in the Discord server under the same alias.
Awesome.
Avantes, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at AvantesHS. You can also find me lurking in the Discord. But if you really want to see me, you can find me every Wednesday night at 7:30 Eastern on twitch.tv/ECMMOGamers, where I do Hero Power, a Hearthstone podcast, with my co-hosts Zeroshio and Versika. Each week we talk about what's going on in the community, and we play a deck you may see on the ladder. Root, where can they find you?
They can find me on the Twitters at HearthcastRoot. You can also find me on the Discord as Root. You can look at me online as well, anything with Florida Fireside, and you can listen to me on my show Hearthcast, which is a Blizzard show going into our 9th year. And also, real quick, while we're still here, one of the things Wheva didn't mention is their location, the Cave, which is right next to George Mason University. Free parking, plenty of food in the little shopping mall they're in, University Plaza. There's movie theaters, there's a shopping center, so you can actually come enjoy your fireside gathering, do some shopping afterwards, catch a movie. You can do everything in one spot there and not even pay for parking. So no excuses. Get over there, check them out, and get it done.
That's awesome. All right.
Yeah, we don't really even try to serve food at the Cave because there's just so many good options near us. It's just not even worth it. Like, there's an awesome girl across the street. Domino's is literally right there, and they'll deliver. There's McDonald's, there's Wendy's, and there's a grocery store right across the street. So there's everything.
Awesome. That's awesome.
That's awesome, yeah.
If you are not already a member of the Innkeeper Discord, we encourage you to do so. We have members from all around the world willing and ready to talk to you about fireside gatherings, how to improve yours, how to help you get started. You name it, they're there to help. Link to that will be in the show notes of this video on YouTube, so you make sure you check it there. Also, you can check out hsinnkeepers.com for all the resources you need to run your event. We have all kinds of games that you can run on the side posted there. That site is hosted by the awesome Bytes Innkeeper, so go check out hsinnkeepers.com. And if you want to check out the official Blizzard resources page, that is, of course, resources.firesidegatherings.com. And as we close the show this week, we want to, again, thank Wheva for joining us. We want to thank all of you in the chat for joining us. And we really want to thank all of you listening at home.
I really hope if Bites has a kid, he names him Nibbles.
All right, gang.
We're still on air, Root.
Until we see you again next week, good gaming.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Innkeepers podcast. For all sorts of Hearthstone community-related goodness, check out hsinnkeepers.com. Ah, come on now. Are you just roping me along? Swing hammer!